Good morning to everybody out there, DFS fans, DFS lovers. I wanted to quickly review last night's NBA slate, see kind of where we went wrong, what went right. We'll take a look at the top winner, and then we'll take a look at brief overview look at tonight's slate. My name's Tim Williams. I'll be creating DFS content all year round. So if that's something you like or something you're interested, subscribe, follow along. Let's just dive right into it. So last night, did a couple single entry contests and ended up making some money last night. And I really went with, for my core, I went with Damian Lillard going against Karl Anthony Towns. I was kind of hoping that those two, would keep it close. It would be a high scoring game. I believe the overall total went under, I believe. But, Damian Lillard real slow out the first half and then really just caught on fire in the second half. So he ended up getting there. He got, 55 fantasy points, which is good. He was the highest salary player I had on my team. So if he didn't get over 50, I was going to be pretty bummed out. But Cat overall, almost 35% owned. So didn't get there. He got 36 total points, and for 9,100, I was kind of hoping he'd get like around 50. That didn't happen. If he did get around 50, this lineup would have broke over 300. But overall total 288.5, really not too bad. In those big GPP fields, that might not have gotten me any money, but for cash games or single entries, it did get me there. So I'm pretty happy overall. Next, we went with Porter Jr. for the Rockets. Kind of a blowout game. Put up 23 and a half points. Not great for 5K, but 81, about 80% of the field had him. So really not too bad, especially in cash. Then I went with Powell. It was either between Powell or Boucher. And I know Powell is mainly reliant on his scoring, but after the dud he put up the game before, I wanted to go right back there. 27% owned, not horrible. But he did put up some rebounds and some assists, got 32 points, 48 points overall. That was huge. I was pretty stoked on that. Martin Jr. for the Rockets again. 36 and a half points off the bench. That was huge. I know he was 40% owned. I didn't really realize how much these players would be so highly owned, how chalky they would be. But that's not necessarily a bad thing in general to go after players who might be highly owned. It's, selecting that one player who it won't be highly owned that might get you there. And then Towns, obviously, that was kind of a bust. Satoransky, who we got the news that he was starting for the Bulls, 50% owned. I'm surprised he wasn't higher owned than that. Got 33 and a half. That was huge at basically minimum salary. So that's a huge boost right there. So when you're building your lineups for NBA, always pay attention to news. Maybe a lot of people didn't see that he was actually going to get the start. Whether or not he was going to play more minutes or not, we weren't sure. But at 3,200, you really cannot go wrong at all. And then Collins, we got news that he was going to start at center. That was going to boost his overall gameplay. He ended up going out and get 42 points. So he got the little fire tag. So got that double. That was huge. Big boost for the lineup there. And then here's my one wild dart throw. It was either between Okoro or Layman for Minnesota. I went with Okoro because he generally plays more minutes. And had he even gotten double this or maybe 22 points, this would have really elevated me up toward the top of the contest. But he ends up scoring no points in the first quarter. But 5 rebounds. He did better than I guess I imagine he would be, judging on the start of that game. But overall, I'm pretty happy with the lineup. You can see what went wrong. One of the core guys here, Towns, did not do so well. And then my dart throw also did not do so great. If those two hit, I would have definitely nailed the big bucks here. And then we'll take a look at the winning lineup. Posted up 345. Fantasy freak. You certainly are, you little freak. Porter, Edwards, who ended up leaving the game a little bit, but look at that, only 12% owned. That is going to leverage you so much higher against the field. Ends up putting up 46 points. Butler was going to be chalk. Um, I thought maybe there'd be potential blowout risk, so he wouldn't play as many minutes, but he ends up going out there and smashing, getting almost 63 points. Martin, we have the same guy. Vooch is the only guy who is doing anything for the Magic. And like I said, I thought there'd be a potential blowout, so maybe he would sit a little bit more. Maybe Birch would go in there, but he ends up getting, almost 65 points. And then Trent again, Olynyk, who we knew was going to start at the 5. Very, very smart play, very, very low under owned there. We could have had a same or a lineup as this, and then we didn't, but ended up going more safe, I guess. It had this game, that Miami game, blown out. This could have been a different story for this particular lineup, but congratulations out to this guy or girl. So that's huge. And then taking a look tonight, we got a huge slate here. So looking at Sacramento, the guys I like here are Fox at 9-1, and then not yet stoked on Halliburton because he's not really getting the minutes yet, coming off that injury. But you could definitely take a look at Holmes here. Holmes has been playing big minutes with Whiteside being out, so I like those guys. Charlotte here. These guys are looking at salary wise, like LaMelo at 8-7 if you want to get contrarian, but he's kind of falling flat. Maybe the minutes aren't exactly there. I don't really like anybody on this side. This will be a game to watch. Milwaukee, Washington, Giannis at the top. As long as this game doesn't blow out, you should be in a good spot. Washington, I love Westbrook. Beal if you want to get contrarian. Other than that, not much else there. You could dart throw with one of these centers. But they have 3 of them and they rotate. So who knows what's going to go on there. Knicks are generally someone I typically stay away from because they are very slow paced. So I probably wouldn't look to anyone there. However, Rose is going to be out. This is a good center play here, Noel. And then also, quickly, if he gets to start, it looks like a pretty good value for 5-6. And then Brooklyn, the obvious guys here are Harden and Irving. Not much else I like there. Jordan's kind of a heartbreaker. Bruce Brown, a little too expensive at 5,000. Joe Harris, not seeing a lot much out of him. And then maybe Claxton because he is getting some minutes here. Might be a good GPP play for sure. And then this game here, you got the San Antonio going against Detroit. Let's look at some salary here. Who's our top guy? DeRozan questionable. Don't like that. Murray, if DeRozan's out, I like Murray here. Podol, he's getting the start now that Aldridge won't be there anymore. White, you can look at GPP for sure. But overall, I'm not too, happy about that. That team going forward. And then Detroit, it's Grant, it's Plumlee, Wright, Jackson. Like, what you're going to get here. There's nothing really sexy. Clippers coming off a back-to-back. That game was a blowout yesterday. So really, Leonard, George, it's about it. Ibaka's out, so I really like Zubac here. You could start him at center. You really can go punt center and go with Zubac and then like a Claxton or something like that in GPPs. Dallas here, Luka's the only one I really dig. And then Indy, Sabonis, obviously. Brogdon's price has come down a little bit. And then with LeVert there, I don't know if that really just kind of makes things a little bit more complicated. I like McConnell as well, but with LeVert back, we don't really know how this team's going to play. So pass on that team for me. Denver, it's the Joker, and that's probably it. Maybe Porter, his price comes down a couple $100. Barton as well. So those are decent options. Memphis and Phoenix. I don't really like to play anybody against Phoenix because they are a pretty solid defensive team there. Morant at 8,000. He's a solid player, but I don't know. Maybe this year is not as smashable. He's not really putting up as many big games. I mean, he certainly has them for sure. Valanciunas at 7-6. I like him. I probably like him less than others. Just watching him play, he fouls a lot. and that gets him into trouble. And then there goes his playing time. And then there's a whole bunch of middle of the road options there, but everyone seems to be decently healthy there. On this side, if you're only trying to really get contrarian, you have Booker and Paul. I like Paul a lot because he has that triple double upside. Other than that, not much else going on here. I will say Dario Saric at 4-2 looks pretty good because he's getting more minutes. And then Lakers, Golden State. This looks like a fun game to target. Don't sleep on this one. If you are not choosing any of these late games and you feel like you're in a pretty good position, be careful because there's a lot of hammers on this one. James is obviously probably going to play. Schroeder Harrell look decent. Morris looks okay. His price is kind of going up there. If he was like 3-4, 3-5, he would look awesome, but he's been getting the start. I don't really care for him anymore. He's kind of been exposed as far as sneakiness in rostering in your lineups here. And then on the Golden State side, you have Curry and Green. That's probably it. Oubre, has some massive games, but I don't see the consistency there. Going against the Lakers, that might be kind of tough. And Wiggins, hard pass, and then the centers get kind of ugly. But Green at 6'5" looks really, really, really good. So I do like that there. He's definitely got some double upside. The guy plays with a lot of heart, which gets him in a lot of trouble sometimes. But I feel like this game will be a higher scoring game and a very fast paced game. So that's it. My name's Tim Williams. I hope this helped you. I hope the lineup review helps you as well. And then, some of the early picks going on. If this helped you or you like this type of content or DFS in general, like this video, subscribe. I'm going to be doing content like this all year round. I really appreciate you watching, and I hope you have an awesome day.